I wanted to start out with a story first to tell you a little bit about my life. And this one kind of helps to define what I've gone through in the last couple of years. And I call it the mouse in the house story. This is a couple of years ago. We had a tiny little mouse, field mouse, in our house. And one night at TV, I happened to notice it out of the corner of my eye, this little thing go across, so we put out the little safe traps, friendly traps, the kind of catch, and you go out in the woods and toss it out there somewhere. And we had trouble catching it. I don't know why. We've caught mice in our house before without a problem, but this time it eluded us. And I had thought that it by chance had crawled up into the back of our stove, because we had smelled something one time, so I kind of, And one night, as we're getting ready for bed, getting snacks in the kitchen, my daughter and my youngest son, who is 5, at that time he was about 3.5, were getting their snacks. And my eldest one, which we won't mention who that is, came down the steps proudly asking me out loud, "Dad, what about that mouse you said was in the stove?" Well, I hadn't told my little girl about it, especially because she has some anxiety issues, or my littlest one. And I promptly went, no. But before I could stop, the anxiety started rising up here with a, "Oh my God, mouse in the house, what? Oh my," And my little one prancing around there going, "Mouse in the house, mouse in the house, mouse in the house." And I'm trying to get my son to be quiet. Don't need to ask anymore. And I said, "No, please be quiet. Hush up. I don't need, But Dad, you don't understand. A mouse could chew the wires and start a fire." And my daughter, at that point, the rocket started.
Oh boy.
"Fire! Oh my God, there's going to be a fire in the house. What do we do?" The panic started, of course, adding to the song that he was dancing as he was around. "Mouse in the house with a big old fire. Mouse in the house with a big old fire." The anxiety was off the roof, plus trying to stop the eldest one from continuing was a little bit of a challenge, because stop just didn't seem to be in his vocabulary at the moment. So my wife had to come down and escort him upstairs, but still adding a few comments on the way up. "But Dad, you still don't understand why the mouse could be a problem in the kitchen," and blah, blah, blah. Well, my daughter's anxiety wound up above the roof, and it took me a good probably 20 to 30 minutes to bring her back down. And of course I used the tapping, which is what I'm going to talk about today, to do that. But now that really wasn't the worst of what we had to go through in our household. There were the nights of screaming, fits of violence, anger, battles, scratching, punching, kicking from my daughter. The nights of the hurricane bathroom that looked like it was flooded and destroyed by a hurricane, but it was just a little 12-year-old, at that time it was about a 10-year-old hurricane called my daughter. So my life has been a real tumultuous in the last 3 or 4 years because of my daughter and her severe OCD. She got to a point with a lot of it that she was stuck on the couch, on the corner of our couch, not able to move at all. Not able to go anywhere, not able to touch anything, do anything. That's where I kind of came in with what I do. And what I do is called emotional freedom technique, better known as tapping. A lot of people know it as tapping. It is a technique that helps lower that anxiety. And we had other tools too. We used movement therapy. We used ERP therapy, which I don't know, the exposure response therapy. And then the tapping. And I was able to use the tapping in a couple different ways. One for myself, because the stress at that point was off the roof, just extraordinary. And to be able to bring that anxiety down took a lot. And the tapping was a real benefit and a tool for us to be able to do. And the nice part about it is it's something that once you learn, you can do for yourself and do for others. Because with my daughter, I couldn't tap on her. She wouldn't let me touch her to tap her, and she couldn't touch herself to tap on herself. So we had to do what they call surrogate tapping. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes, where you can actually tap for a person to help them along.